Back here with Bart Scott. Excitement is building for the start of the season in Green Bay. Bart, Aaron Rodgers, healthy and motivated. Packers, they've got a new head coach in Matt LaFleur. And after 2 days of training camp, there is seemingly no tension between the two. Aaron says, why should there be? Their relationship is growing, and the two are friends. However, he says adjusting to a new coach will take time.
A lot of times when you have a coaching change, you have to go through the struggles of, learning and starting over almost. But I think what Brian has done with our roster and the guys that we have coming back, I think, we have a chance to compete. And again, we're in a good spot, too, because nobody's talking about us. Some of the most dangerous teams, I thought, from our years are when everybody's talking about every other team out there except for us, and we can kind of come at our own pace and surprise some people in the beginning.
All right, Bart, if this team is going to succeed, what's going to be the biggest key for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers?
Well, I think less of Aaron Rodgers is going to be the key. This is a team that when you look from the outside in, is a soft team in a tough division, led by the Chicago Bears, who can run the ball, they can stop you on run, and they're physical, nasty, and you think about the elements. Aaron Rodgers hasn't been healthy in the last couple of years. It's because they're leaning and putting too much pressure on him. Now, when we see some of the, even though he's not an older quarterback, he's 34 years old, you would think he has 6 more good years in him. But if they're going to prolong that, they're going to have to keep him on the football field. And to do that, they're going to have to increase the time of possession and quit asking him to be special. We think about all the miracle plays that he's made over the years. That's hard to sustain. I think they need to ground and pound the ball, and I think they need to take a little bit from what they did with Drew Brees. Run the football, lean on a heavy defense, and only ask Aaron Rodgers to be special in spurts. Take the game down. Lead. I think they were, 20th in the league in time of possession. If you can change that and maybe jump up to 10, I think it gives you more opportunities to put him on the short field. They got tougher up the middle defensively. They drafted Rashawn Gary. They drafted outside corners. They spent money in free agency for the first time, a lot of money on the defensive side of the ball. And I think if, you put it to where Aaron Rodgers just has to be better than the other quarterback 2 or 3 possessions, you go ahead with a defense that's tough, then I think that's a recipe for success. We've seen it happen across the league with a lot of the older quarterbacks.
Yeah, there's not a lot of soft players in the NFL, but there are soft systems.
Yeah.
And if you don't run the ball, if you don't play an attack defense, and if people will categorize you as a soft football team.
Yeah.
You're easier to play against. And those types of teams, too, you're not that sore after the game. They used to say there's certain type of coaches, man, you're sore Wednesday or Thursday when you play against their team. Yeah. Baltimore for years, Pittsburgh for years, knockdown, drag-outs. And you're like, I'm trying to get ready, but I'm still feeling the pain of last week's game. Green Bay Packers have not been that way. Haven't been in the top 10 in points, have not been in the top 10 in yards in the last 10 years defensively. So that's a soft football team, even though no coach will say that I preached a soft mentality.
Right.
But your style, your players, they will know that. After games, the opposition will know that. So you hit it right on the head. From the front office standpoint, they decided when they got off of McCarthy as a head coach, we're going to be more physical. Yeah. We're going to try to be more demanding of our players. They went from a 43 defense to a 34, and typically that 34 defense, you got to play it with big people, and you have to be physical to be able to play it effectively. They spent a lot of draft capital on their secondary the last few years. They should be really good. And Aaron Jones, the running back, they have to get him involved because they have not supported Aaron Rodgers with a consistent running game since he's been the starter there in Green Bay. If they want things to change, if Aaron wants to get people's attention, this organization want to get people the attention on the national stage, that physical style will take over the first month of the season. And listen, they better have it geared up because Chicago and Minnesota, big, physical, rugged teams, you have to be able to match that in your division, and they finally now have the right person.
And you mentioned Chicago and Minnesota in their division. It's also the first 2 weeks of the season, and first 5 weeks of the season, the defenses they face, Chicago, Minnesota, Denver, Philadelphia, Dallas. If you ask Aaron Rodgers to drop back 40 times a game in those first 5 weeks of the year, you know what this year will likely have in common with last year and the year before? Aaron Rodgers gets dinged or worse early, and it derails the season. Now, the Packers did something I thought a little curious a couple days ago, which is they're They've been preaching they're going to be about defense. They've invested in the defense. They brought in Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith, linebacking core. They then cut Mike Daniels in a contract dispute. That doesn't make your team better for this coming season.
Well, I'm going to tell you, he's not a good fit for the system. He's not a nose tackle that can play on the nose over the center in a 34. He's more of a 4-3 defensive. And the kind of money you're paying him, you can get somebody to do that for a lot less. And he's not a 34 defensive end. Too short. Arms aren't long enough, so he's not the prototype to fit there.
So even though you see a lot of teams are interested,
speaking a little defense.
Even though, because when I saw Mike Daniels got cut,
I could have said it better myself, CC.
Because I think a lot of people had the reaction I had. That's a good player. You do that $8 million for a player of his caliber. You look at a lot of good teams interested in him. You're saying because of the system change wasn't a fit there.
Yeah, need a fat guy to hold the jump throughs. They brought in Rashawn Gary to play that. Geno Atkins. Muhammad Wilkerson type of guy that's 6'5", that's long, that can shoot the gaps because he's going to be in between the guard and the tackle.
So I wanted to get back to something that you guys were struck by a little earlier when Aaron Rodgers mentioned that he and Matt LaFleur are friends now, and so everything should be okay. You laughed at that. Why?
I mean, because he's telling you who's the boss. Like, we're friends, and LaFleur's going to have to earn his respect. Whenever you go into a quarterback that's already great, you have to show them that you have the answers to the test. And I'm sure Aaron's going to try and press him to see what his philosophy is in certain situations. So you have to go in and earn his respect.
Are you friends with any of your coaches, former coaches?
You know what? I was.
Okay,
you were friends with Rex, probably.
Me and Dennis Thurman fell over the table at my party.
Man, Dennis Thurman is cool. Dennis Thurman ain't no regular dude. Dennis Thurman cool with a bunch of people.
DT.
Okay, now that ain't no, I don't give you that.
Okay, well, me and Rex were cool.
You and Rex is on the same level. Rex, a young dude, trying
we came
to cut
up
his
together
teeth in the league, coming into the league.
See, but this is a young coach that's trying to find his way, and he knows the best way to help his resume is to have success with Aaron Rodgers, because if he can't have success with Aaron Rodgers, how can you go anywhere in this league and say you're a great offensive coach if you can't devise a plan to utilize those type of talents that Aaron Rodgers has? Now, I think when you talk about the philosophy of the schemes, how you try and make them tough, they're going to have to put Aaron Jones at the home position. All that finesse type of stuff that you're talking about, those RPOs type of things, that's soft philosophy, because you're not getting double teams getting up to the second level. He's going to have to devise some of the same plays that he had when he was down in Tennessee, because that was down in your face. That make you respect. If you got to earn the respect of Minnesota, you got to earn the respect of Chicago. You do that by punching them in the mouth.
All right, Bart. We'll see you a bit later on in the show.
DT, you my boy, DT.
How many cognacs was it when you guys fell over?
I think it was 26 down Julio's.
Will Carson Wentz live up
Each
to
or split?
his big payday? Next on First Things.
The bill was 55 grand.
What?
D. Thurman is a grown man.
What party was
55
my birthday party.
grand?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I got